you know, the game overall I felt was well played by NONGSHIM despite the early deficit. And you know, leading into what Digon was saying, I think with a more even game state and another pretty strong draft, because Game 1's draft was pretty good for them, they might be able to get it done. As well, ban away Faker's most played, his 4-0 victor here.
So the Skarner and the Kalista still need to be banned on the red side. I'm interested in what NONGSHIM wants to prioritize for themselves. There are quite a few picks that have been very, very strong for them, but the one that really stands out to me is the Rumble.
Yes.
I do feel like Kingen has been exceptionally good on that champion, but another outside look-in could be the Sejuani.
Yeah. I do think the Rumble will likely be banned by T1 in this final spot. Doran's been fantastic on it as well, so we could see NONGSHIM ban that one away themselves. I don't know what they'd be fishing for if that was going to be the case. However, we'll see. The Xin Zhao being gone as well is pretty huge because it's been one of the picks that Oner has excelled on so far this tournament, including in Game 1. And Bessa will be taken away here by NONGSHIM. So T1 could just say, all right, well, no Rumble, not allowed, not going to let that through. We'll see what they decide to go for. The Ashe has really fallen off here in the LCK. We're not seeing it as much as we saw in the first few games of the Rumble stage, or the group battle stage, sorry.
Yep. With the Varus ban, maybe the Ashe ban becomes something a little bit more understandable, but one more ban here, and I don't think it's going to be invested in that. The Sejuani is going to be taken off the board. Gideon with a little bit of a grin after that one. And the Elise. This is the other thing. So I said Rumble, I said Sejuani, but I think the Elise is also another big deal because Lens needs a turnaround game, and I don't think there's a better way to do it than putting him on the Elise.
Yeah, but there were so many strong picks available, and now Keria just can play a support that's strong into Elise and not play like Leona. But Poppy is the worst pick into Elise in the bottom lane, and that one's globally banned by Fearless. So, you know, you gave over the Rumble. That's problematic in its own right. But now Keria has, I mean, Keria is kind of known to play range supports. He's quite well known for that. So we'll see what they do decide on here. Is a lot of flipping around what Oner will play. The Lee Sin can punish an Elise pretty well. It's hard to cocoon such a mobile champion, but I'm gonna opt for the Wukong, or maybe not. Just I like the if we're talking about a blind pick, I like the Lee Sin more.
I like the Wukong just because Warrior Trickster can make the cocoon worthless, but I think Oner on Lee Sin is just better because we know just how good this guy is on this champion. Doran's Rumble, not necessarily as scary as if it was Zeus playing the Rumble, for example, but still a player that can figure it out absolutely and does have a lot of prowess. As that's an Anivia. Oh God, Kingen, have we been working in the same restaurant as Zeus? Is that what's happening here?
That's what it seems to be. I thought perhaps we were going to see a Galio pick first and not the Elise, and now NONGSHIM are really cooking. Okay. I'm not even going to predict anything that happens next. Okay, the Yasuo, which was really, really high prio early on in the tournament, has fallen off quite a bit, is going to be locked in here, so...
Or his brother, Yone.
Or sorry, Yone, excuse me.
They're both windy boys.
Yeah, no, my brain is a little bit broken right now. The Sejuani is, of course, banned. And there's a lot of AP jungle options available, including the Elise, technically, but I don't think that's where she's going. We'll see what the rest of the plan is going to be here. I like the Kai'Sa into the Elise because, you know, you have a lot of squishy targets here that if Kai'Sa gets fed, which Smash has been known to do, you can just smash all of these targets if you're ahead and you have the right support and set up. You have Elise in to follow up. You have the Rumble damage to set it up too. It gets really easy. The ban on the Xayah makes a ton of sense. Been a long time counter.
Well, the Nort is going to be banned away. I think that a lot of things with big AoE CC need to be hitting the bench.
Caitlyn's super obvious here. I love that ban.
Yep, holding people in place on the Rumble Ultimate is going to be pretty important here. I think a Leona ban would make some sense. The Caitlyn, like you were talking about, is going to be taken away as well, not allowing you to have that level of range. I
love how they picked Elise first, though, and then banned some of the best champions she can lane into. This draft is super weird for me, NONGSHIM. As we'd all love to see Faker play Zed.
We would. Or Aurelia. Aurelia is kind of fun, too. She was just nerfed, so it's probably not happening, as that is a Corki. I think as far as going from things you want to see Faker play to things you don't want to see him play, this is about as large of a gap as you can get.
Hey, he has played Kai'Sa mid.
Hey, true, there we go.
I don't think he will be playing Kai'Sa mid in this case. As looking between the Ashe and the Jinx here for the bottom lane, remember the Elise is already locked in.
I really like the Ashe. I expect you're still going to be able to lock that one in.
Really strong synergy with the Cocoon and the Arrow, and also the follow-up from the Anivia Q, and you can isolate targets with the Anivia wall as well. And it's a very squishy lineup here for T1. There is no tank at the moment, which leads into part of why maybe you see that Leona Nautilus ban. And, you know, obviously that sets up the Rumble to great success as well. But this is a solid lineup here for NONGSHIM at the end of the day, given what T1 have. It was a weird path we took to get there, but, you know,
yeah.
I think we're also putting a lot of trust in Fisher being able to pilot Yone here to great success. And we're just going all in.
Yeah, okay, so that's Keria's Pike. We know just how good he is on this champion, but that is definitely the opposite of a tank. That is as far the opposite of a tank that you can possibly get. This guy cannot even get health. Like, it just does, it's impossible.
He can't do it, and
18 games of Anivia this week in solo queue, so he's been putting in the time. The win rate's not something I'd really, you know, write home about, but it's above 50%. See how it goes. We jump into the rip for game number 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Into game number 2, where tanks have been banned. Playing a tank, illegal. It's not something you're allowed to do. As owner, you have a skin for this champion, dude. Like, I know that one's really cool as well, but I mean, this is the time.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like the time. We will have a lane swap.
Ooh.
But T1...
I like that Anivia skin as well. That's a cool one.
Yeah, T1, will they look to match, or will they just try to bully an Anivia? It's kind of tough to bully an Anivia because of her passive. And it's very difficult to dive her as well because of that. So it's a strong champion in a lane swap, and has great wave clear too. Yep. Ooh, that's some cool tech.
Okay.
So delaying the minion wave a little bit.
Bit of a cute one, just bunching him up.
He has 7 seconds so he could try to slow them down again.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And so now he gets to at least convince the minions that they should be a bit closer to his turret.
You can use the turret. Yep. Really cool.
Oh, that is very... Look at these melees. They're so confused. This one guy is like, where did my friends go?
All right, I don't care what happens to this game now. I'm behind this type of strategy. It's like the most strategy that's ever been shown in a single LCK game in LCK history.
The wall tech. This is what you get from playing 19 games of Anivia top in a week, ladies and gentlemen. He's also probably been playing it in scrims, guys. It was a little bit of facetiosity, but that was definitely fun.
That was exciting.
It is, like, in the end, just like a 1v1 lane, so
yeah.
It's not as impactful as it could have otherwise been. It's still cool.
You know, if Viego was passing bottom and, you know, the Rumbles pull back, there's some stuff you could maybe do with it, but it isn't, I don't think, going to make too much of a difference in this game in particular. As do see this 2v2 is going to be tough to play out into the Ashe with the Pike at this point, unless he can hit a Miracle Hook, set up that stun.
Yep, it's a fair bit of, like, if you all in, then maybe you've got a chance, but an all-in is a lot of all or nothing, which can be very, very dangerous. As Fisher is going to unbind his soul, try and do some damage to Faker, and Faker stands his ground and says, no, I don't really care.
Yeah, speaking of all-ins, kind of an all-in there. At least he gets both of those ranged minions, but will not be happy with what happens next. We'll have to eat that potion, or drink.
Yep.
Whatever. It is definitely the type of game, too, when you see King and lock in a Zeus exclusive champion into T1 that makes T1 fans maybe want to press a new tweet button, but I think this is just King and really cooking in his own way with the NONGSHIM coaching staff, because they've had some cool drafts and they've really leaned into, we're just going to do what we like recently, and I do like to see that. We'll see if it works out in this game. As for Fisher, it's not working out the way he's hoping, but he's turned this lane around a little bit.
Yep, and there's also, like, There's a lot to be said about follow-up in Pixie T, right? Anivia is certainly one of these champions with her stun being pretty high value, but hitting it is a little bit harder because it moves very slowly. Oh dear, Fisher, this is not where he wants to be. As Oner misses the Q, Fisher is going to survive for now, as now Lehens looking for an opportunity onto Smash. He has to flash to get out of the way. Gideon looking for an opportunity. Lehens makes his way out. Still relatively healthy as Keria gets the ward down. And it looks like they're not going to attempt the dive.
So close to success, though, for NONGSHIM. As soon as Oner shows in the mid lane, they know they have an angle there. Try to get the punish. Really cool usage of the Valkyrie there by Faker as well. To try to deny Fisher from getting away without taking a bunch of damage. And he will find his soul the right timing here and get out. And we'll be able to TP back to lane himself. So a lot of that aggression neutralized now. And luckily for Fisher, because he did dodge that Sonic Wave, he gets out alive, doesn't have to flash. Smash being down both of his summoners now means that a follow-up opportunity could be there for NONGSHIM to punish the early game Kai'Sa.
Yeah, well, King and Doran, let's have a look at this. Ice versus Fire should be pretty Doran favored as far as my elemental matchups that I learned in Pokemon are concerned. These are, in fact, not Pokemon, though, so it is not going to be the case. E doing a fair bit of damage, man. He's
Phase Rush as well in this game. And we have seen some different variants, you know, in certain matchups going for Comet. Lehens?
Ooh, the Cocoon going to go wide there. Faker will take a little bit of return damage from the Unbound Soul, but Lehen's not going to find any joy from his surprise attack on the mid lane.
Yeah. We've seen Grasping Anivia as well for a more tank-focused build, but we already said tanks are not allowed in this game, so...
And the build that he's been going has been a lot more like Rod of Ages, Seraph's style of builds, as the flash from Fisher is odd, misses the Q, now unbinds, gets the flash out of Faker, because Faker is respecting Lehens, but that was some events, as once again, Kingen is going to tell the melees that they will walk through that brush.
Really cool to see. Just makes Smash up a step further up here. Will be potentially in danger. And when you don't know where the Elise is, it's always scary when you're playing like this 1v1 against a top laner who's up 2 levels on you, and your minions are close to the turret. It feels very uncomfortable to farm. You already had a tough time. Oh, he's caught!
Yeah, there we go. Glacial Storm doing a little bit of damage there, as he finds the stun as well. As remember, the E is on a really short cooldown and crits. It's just, it's a bit of a silly button.
It's big damage if you are able to set it up, and he's able to do so. That's a level 4 Kai'Sa, so without cleanse, which he's aware of. So that could have been way worse if the wall was actually tight there, and he wasn't able to work his way out.
Yeah. He's going to be maxing the E. I'm wondering when he's going to put extra points into the wall. I remember Froggen used to do these weird things because the guy played Anivia so much that he'd have different games where he'd max wall first, as there's a hook connecting, sorry, a cocoon connecting as Faker just Valkyrie's away. Oner makes his way in, makes his way out. Lehen's very, very close to dead. And T1 just kind of chilling right now. Bone Skewer going to be attempted to be blocked, but instead, Gideon's the one that's going to be the target. That was got to get out, and that equalizer was nutty.
Everything about that was just so off the wall.
Yeah.
But ultimately not successful. Not enough damage on the Faker there, but you can really see the setup here that we've been talking about so much. Gio did not have 6 to follow up because he could have even tried to arrow there as well with everything that was happening. A lot of pick potential, a lot of zoning, but it hasn't really led to a big gold advantage here for NONGSHIM. Sitting on about 200 or so at the moment.
Kingen continuing to just try and hit Smash with things. Doesn't, I believe, manage to tag him with the Frost there. Oh dear, Lehens is just dead.
High value ward. I've never seen one.
Sometimes respecting the wards is a good idea, as once again, First Blood is going to be gained by killing Lehens.
I have a feeling I didn't ping that one.
Yeah. That's just a little bit sad. I think you might want to risk taking your time to move towards a turret or something like that before you decide to go back with 200 health. As now Jiu is trying to fight against Doran, and Doran silences himself and does a lot of damage here to Jiu. Does get a little bit on the back end. Into the brush as the Flame Spitter is able to help out, and so the arrow not exactly getting the value that Jiu really wanted. Still, he is going to be okay. Lehen's back in action once again. As, all right, oh man, maybe it's now going to be the hidden spider that gets, oh, never mind.
Lehens has just not hit his abilities sometimes today when it's been really highly opportunistic to do so.
Yeah.
Another one of those moments, and iconic Elise player who normally hits those 10 out of 10 times. 2 misses today in this game. So we'll go back to this play here. King in deep for this one.
W 한번 봐줘.
직각이는 나
하나,
가.
둘, 셋. 그래.
Yep, they were just coordinating it to make sure that there's no way to react.
예은의 팀 못 갔어.
Beautifully done.
Timing
there
it
by
out.
T1.
Oh, another whiffs.
Yeah, that one, I think it's okay. It's when the enemy doesn't know that you're there and you miss, that's the most egregious.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise they're juking and it's a little bit of mind games and it's a little bit more understandable. But that one in the top lane, that was certainly not one you want. This could be another opportunity for that, as now Lehens wants to be able to find it. Kuhn now going to connect as he flashes on over. Fisher's in so much trouble, still going to survive. They take down the Lee Sin first, the repel to get Lehens out of dodge. And now Jiu's on the board, picks up the kill onto Keria. Faker now in trouble, and it's a double for the Ashe. NONGSHIM coming back in a big way here in game 2.
I mean, it's just a tightrope walk, though, how they played that. And Fisher has spent so much of this game for real, sitting on low health and just going in and absorbing pressure. I think this isn't really possible without him here. As you can see, he's zoned out in this situation, ends up avoiding the spear, goes in, gets Smash's ultimate as well. So Smash is now zoned away, and Keria is just not squishy. And this is what we're talking about this comp. It's got so much chase down potential. With the Ashe slows, you are just not going to get away. If you are priced into a fight like this and you do not win it, you will eventually slowly be eliminated one by this composition of NONGSHIM. It's so sticky. That gives them 1,000 lead to goal here.
Damn,
And let's see if they can snowball it.
That's crazy. I wonder, do you actually, you don't have access to Pyke's passive, right? When you kill someone as a possessed version of Pyke?
I don't think so.
Man, that'd be cool.
That
if you just
sounds
got extra
kind of
money.
broken. I don't know if that's allowed.
There are so many Viego things that I always talk about, like on broadcast, that I just don't understand. I apologize, everyone. I should probably actually just research all of the interactions that Viego has, because he's played
We'll see you in 3 years. Yeah. Let me know when you're done with that.
Yeah. I think I'll write my thesis on it. I'll try and get a PhD in
I think if you had a
Viego interactions.
If you had a group of 20, oh,
Okay, there is the safeguard kick flash onto Jiu, who is very dead.
all right. Well, there you go.
Yep, revenge. Secured. The feat of strength did go over to NONGSHIM.
Yeah.
There is at least that. They can take that one to the bank. Nice little knock up here from Fisher as Doran misses the harpoon. That's going to win the trade there for the Yone. But that is one grub going on down, as Wojciech are going to give away the position here of Smash. Keria comes in though, lands the Bone Skewer as Kingin's in a bit of trouble as well. Lehens is just dead. Explosions there as the ulti's looking really cool. A double in theory, but it is just egg form. And still, that's a 4-man ult from Fisher. Smash going to get ripped to shreds. And they take down Faker as well. Back immediately channeled here as Keria is trying to go home. And now flashing over the wall is Gideon, safeguarding out his Oner, and I think he will survive for the moment. But man, I thought that was a T1 destruction derby. Instead, NONGSHIM find the hugest Yone angle.
I mean, it still could have been even better there. I think NONGSHIM's super frustrated with the fact that both Keria is able to escape. They knew he was there. I think 99% they know he's in that brush, but they thought they could get the kill onto Oner. Flash committed, they don't get either of them. So it's a nice trade back there and an incredible ultimate from Fisher. It could have been even better. And T1, again, if you walk into this team fight with NONGSHIM, you better hope you're wiping it clean, because if you do not, there is no escape. As this is just a great play from Smash and Oner. Oner goes for the insect. Yep. And knocks you away from safety. Nothing he can do here. So that is a huge win for them, which gives them the confidence to go for this follow-up play after Grubs. And then it looks fantastic, right? Like, Kingin is trying to help Lehens. He has no flash, and he's able to set up his wall here. Buy some time. Gideon's like, well, I'm not going in there. All the while, though, Fisher heading over, and that pesky egg just buying a few more seconds here, a few more seconds. Nobody sees the flanking Yone come in for the 4-man, and Gideon's follow-up damage is insane here with Gio as well. Unfortunately for them, both Keria and Oner will escape.
Yeah, still, I mean, you can see what this composition can do if they do manage to get it working. And just think about that with Kingin layered over the top, right? He can slow everyone so much. It can make some of these Yone plays work out, as Kingin also may just be dead, which would also be bad, but Oner's going to dive in. There's the safeguard kick as Lehens comes through. Oner is going to die, so it's a 1-for-1, but Lehens is now finding himself a little bit trapped underneath this turret. That turret is very angry, and Smash taking a lot of damage here. Lehens, I don't know about this one, buddy. Still, can he get in range of the Q, as there's the repel, and he gets the execute. not enough that Keria can do about it, as now Faker will turn up, but Fisher is now landed. Keria looks for the ultimate, doesn't quite find it, but still, the stun is going to connect. Keria going to be falling, as we've also got Gideon getting eaten by a very angry robot Yordle, and Giu, can he actually avenge him? The answer is perhaps, because we just continue to fight here in this game. Doran now running for the hills, Faker looking for Fisher, he flashes, he picks it up. And it's 8-8 as far as the kill score, and if we don't get a Ruinous Otacon in this game, I will eat my hat.
It might be the one. 5 seconds until it's calculated, but I mean, looks like maybe we even have more. Fisher is not here. And it's just Faker who's double blast coning his way out. Chemtech Soul to the rescue. I guess Ruinous Otacon's not happening.
Yeah, I guess it's not happening.
Oh, so close.
My hat, unfortunately, does not exist. However, I will eat nothing. Just for you guys, just so that I can remain true. Okay, Lahen's going to find the cocoon onto Oner here, who puts him up into the sky. Kingen just continuing to try and push them away. Gets stunned and now has no real way out, and will be taken out of there.
Oh, man, my man Lahen's trying to make some big heroic plays in this mid game and starting to backfire a little bit here. The cool thing about getting kills is, at least when you chase down those, is that she utilizes gold incredibly well, much better than most supports, because she builds AP and does a lot of damage with Zazax, and you want to be doing that burst damage. You have the electrocute, right, and finding an isolated target is actually massive. The trade-off for Elise is that you also give a ton of gold when you die, so if you don't find those all-in wins, you just end up feeding over so much money to the enemy team. This is just what happened to Gideon here. No explanation needed. Tries to use the cloak to get away, and even had the speed up there from the scuttle, but it's not enough.
Yep. Keria has just found every single angle to make this Pyke work as well, even in moments where he dies.
Yeah.
Like, someone is always stunned. Like, it is just kind of nutty in the way that he uses the extra mobility in order to always be in the position to get that one to work.
I'm just I feel like I got cheated out of a really cool potential NONGSHIM game here, because things were looking up and up for them. There were some opportunities, but they didn't slow down the tempo when I think they needed to. They didn't just sit back and say, all right, hold up, let's go to a stable game state, look for some more picks. Kept opting in, and now T1 is slowly just taking massive control over this game. And I mentioned whoever gets control first is going to really snowball the game, and we didn't really have a dominant lead until this moment. There's still windows back into this game with the pick comp that NONGSHIM have. This is one of the best comps to play from about 3,000 gold behind, where you actually still can pick people, you still can blow them up, but it's going to get a little bit tougher once you start losing control of objectives. Speaking of, they do have control of Herald now. Let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, NONGSHIM, I think if they can convince T1 to walk into them and that first pick does actually come through, the amount of, snowball potential within a fight is extraordinarily high with things like the Viego. But that is the Rift Herald going down. Gideon able to pick up the eye just fine, and T1 not over-investing into that one. 3,000 gold is the approximate lead, and honestly, not a huge deal. Could be worse, as we are very well aware, because we all watched game number 1.
Yeah, no, this is still playable for sure. And with the Herald, some of that gold can be shored up with one of these outer turrets, all of them basically sitting at full health at the moment. Fisher's having a really good game. Almost makes me feel guilty to say I wasn't ready to trust when he locked in the Oner, but
he's also still Fisher, right? Like, I feel like he doesn't do the things that you expect someone to do.
Yeah, that's true.
As now Faker, his spidey senses have to be tingling. Yes, they are. Of course they are. He always knows, probably knew before Lahen's did, that Lahen's was going to be in that brush. And let's see whether Giu knows it, and he does. As Bone Skewer still going to connect, and Giu just going to be able to find the hook, so it's a 1-for-1 in the end. Let's see whether Gideon can make it a 2-for-1, but the Bone Skewer not quite as good coming from the Viego, and he gets himself out.
Still feel pretty good about this as T1. As, they have a dead 80 carry, you have an alive one farming. Faker grabs the second item, is about to transform, as we do have a TP.
Yeah, Fisher a little bit mistimed as far as that knock-up was concerned. As the ulti out will mean that Lahen's is not going to be able to find the angle as, oh dear. Speaking of not finding the angle, I don't know whether he's going to be able to find his way out either, as the Spiderlings blocking the rockets. And, wow, I remember when, we'd see a rocket like that and it would do that much damage, and we'd be like, oh, yep, just Corky things. That was nerfed years ago.
Yeah. That felt like a Luden's rocket for sure.
It really did. As it turns out, it was just an extremely squishy Elise.
Well, it's still going to be the turret going over to T1 here topside. Faker's teleport not punished. He's even going to let some of these minions go with it, or at least some damage on that cannon. But going back to the mid play, you know, you could argue Jiwoo could have just flashed this skewer and maybe thought he was just out of range of it, but he knew also that Gideon was there, so maybe wanted to try to make a turnaround play on it, but Gideon doesn't hit the spear. Still a trade up for T1. And then obviously they get that play topside and get the top turret afterwards. So that 3,000 gold lead persists despite a very close kill score here in this game, and feats of strength going over to NONGSHIM.
Yeah, they managed to get that a while back, so that is at least a little bit of extra value as Cocoon is going to land this time, but the Q is going to land as well onto Oner. Repel gets Lehens out of there as now Faker is going to chase them down. The Rocket's hurting. It's always the Elise that's making the Rockets look like they really hurt.
It's just, you could see how much veteran power is on this T1 roster, even though they have Smash on this team. Like, some of the traps and tricks that would have fooled most LCK teams, T1 are just not falling into them. They're being so careful. They're being so punishing as well on those said traps. It's hard for NONGSHIM to find the angles they want to, and a very good composition at finding picks. T1 are just too careful.
Yeah. And now this outer turret is under fire. This is a good macro position for NONGSHIM to be in. Can T1 actually fight their way back into some control around this river as Gideon pushing forward? Arrow going to connect there onto Oner. The double stun, the layering CC, but he gets himself out with the safeguard, and now Gideon is burning down. Faker, Valkyries to reposition, and now it smashes Killer Instinct. He didn't even need a button with that name on it. He already just had that, but it is working out for them. Keria looking for another bone skewer, but honestly, the damage has been done. 3 on the floor for NONGSHIM, and maybe even more as the ulti gets Fisher out, but Kingen, he doesn't have one of those. Burning, but now he's just going to have to flap his way out. And this outer turret, not long for the world as T1 just look to take down the stragglers. Oh dear, yeah, that is a Void Seeker that's going to put him down towards the egg. And down goes Yone as well. Faker's health bar suffered a little bit, but nothing to worry about. As now Otacon could be an option here. They are relatively low as far as these health bars, but T1 are just better today.
Yeah,
that's all I'm really seeing.
I mean, I almost felt like I cast her curse when I was like, oh, they're just more careful. And then Oner gets caught by the arrow, right, in this moment. And yet T1 know exactly what to do in this situation. They have Smash on the cross, so he can actually close the gap super easily. Remember, no one is tanky here on NONGSHIM, so Faker shreds through what little armor there is left for Gideon. Oner gets the execute there. Jiwoo is left on his own, and this TP ends up being, you know, a little bit overzealous, let's say, but Kingen getting caught here after they get the turret as well means not only does he die, he's 0-4 now, but he loses his passive, and any sort of longevity he would have in another team fight as Fisher tries to be the hero. Just they're so close to greatness in all of these moments, but like you said, T1 are just better today. And I mean, this is a AP Anivia, not very tanky. He's about to hit the Rod of Ages and the Seraph's transform, but it's just too little too late. The scaling is definitely high in terms of what she can do damage-wise later, but I don't know if it's going to matter.
Well, Kingen is going to do his best to try and find an angle, and Faker is going to make it impossible for any value to be collected. Gives him the good old thumbs up as Void Seeker is going to find him. My goodness. He deserved that, you know, like catching a bit of a break here.
I mean, look, anyone who's even a T1 fan will cheer for an Anivia in those moments. You know, we haven't seen Anivia that much really ever in a while, and Zeus did it one time, and now we're like, oh, could this be a thing? Could we see Anivia? That's kind of hype. Please live, King. I don't know.
I also think he got his Seraph's transform
right in time.
As it was, as he needed it, so that was definitely cool. Fisher going to use his ult to escape once again. As now maybe we're heading towards Anivia territory, Wolf.
Yeah.
This is what old people like myself will remember. Anivia was good at kill minions when trying to siege turrets.
It is hard to finish a game against her, for sure.
Ooh, nice sidestep there from Lehens. Don't know whether he's out of the woods just yet, though. It's the Spiderlings, you know, doing something. It's pretty cool.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Bone Skewer going to connect. Now Faker is going to turn up. Arrow will connect as the Repel gets Lehens out of there. But T1, a few too many bodies here for NONGSHIM to really fight back. They have 4. But is it actually going to be enough? Another Bone Skewer. Keria cannot miss today.
Yeah, he's just on fire. And Smash is going to sit here in mid. This 4-1 Otacon play is so oppressive. A lot of teams would just look for a dive here, but T1 don't need to. They know that NONGSHIM can't punish. They can't look for the picks like their comp wants to while they're sieged up like this.
Oh dear, Doran possibly in trouble. The wall goes down. Repel goes up. And remember, they have Otacon, but this is still a bunch of money going over to NONGSHIM. They just need to make sure that they do not die. Killer Instinct gets Smash in there as they take down Jiwoo. 1 for 2 sent back home. is kind of even, I guess
Yeah,
you
it's
could
like
say.
a trade up for NONGSHIM gold-wise a little bit, but still T1 having the pressure there.
Another bone skewer. This time going to miss. 6 points in my country, though.
And using the wall and the ultimate, like you said, to kill the minions and to deny some of that siege, buying some time here.
Yep, counter siege for Anivia is no joke, as now Fisher is going to take an equalizer ride. He did not want that. Another equalizer is there now in the form of a Valkyrie, and Faker didn't even really need it as far as the damage. Fisher is just, being abused.
He shakes his head on the player cam. He had his ult in 5 seconds. Maybe there's a way he turns that around. Maybe that's what he was kind of preparing for there on the 1v1, but it wasn't a 1v1. Doran getting caught here is exactly what this comp for NONGSHIM is meant to do. And I think T1 could have played this a little bit slower, but ultimately, you know, they still end up getting a lot out of this. And taking the 80 carry off the board is always going to be huge. They got the mid turret. I mean, they got so much value out of this Otacon in general. And then here, look, Fisher's ultimate is coming online very soon. So he's hoping, okay, he goes back and maybe makes something happen, but he's able to identify, oh, Faker's here. It's not a 1v1. This was not the play.
Yes, not the droids you were looking for. Okay, Lehens is just thrown into a bone skewer. That was sexy. That was a sexy play. And T1 just once again going to, like, Lehens is challenging Beryl. He only needs 3 more deaths.
Yeah.
And he's going to get there. He then needs to win the game if he wants to equalize. But right now it's a 10,000 gold lead. It's happened again, ladies and gentlemen. T1 really running away with this one. It took them a little bit longer in the earlier stages to really assert their lead. And now that they have it, things are looking real dire. And Keria doesn't miss those. Once again, that is a dead Ashe.
Yeah, sometimes against these Keria spears, you gotta just flash it, man.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, maybe I'll dodge. You don't dodge this guy.
I mean, if I was playing against him, I would probably, my way of dodging it would be to be in the fountain.
The problem is if you flash his hook, then you don't have your flash for his next one. He's not gonna miss, you know? Yeah, he was in deep trouble there. T1 gonna grab this Baron on spawn again. And this game is just, unfortunately, very quickly spiraling out of NONGSHIM's grasp. There were some good angles in the early game. There were some opportunities. They kept it close. They even had, at one point, a pretty nice macro lead, map control, but T1 just outplayed them and were able to suss out some of their traps. Speaking of...
Oh, Lehens, unfortunately not allowed to go home. The equalizer going to stop that. Now Keria looking for an opportunity to take him down. He's going to slink through. Does get tagged as, oh god, just like 3 buttons and he's dead. Fisher not going to be allowed to escape here. Does get a big old shield as he flashes on top of Faker. He almost goes down. Eventually Gideon does secure that kill as the bone skewer this time just barely going to go wide. And Doran going to get taken down. Gideon now finding some of these angles, some of these opportunities as he gets on top of Smash with a Heartbreaker. Now Gio with these auto attacks as Keria, it's just going to get autoed down. And Oner possibly out of position. There's the kick. Follows in order to take down Gideon, but the stun is going to be there, and there's the Ashe damage we've been waiting for. NONGSHIM able to fight back. This was with Baron.
Yeah, this is one of those old school NONGSHIM types of team fights where you're like, oh, if you want to tussle with us, you better be ready to get into the chaos, as Gideon absolutely pops off in that fight. And Gideon has been known to be a crazy Viego player. You give him that opportunity, you don't respect him. He has a ton of really crazy snowballing champions on T1's side to utilize there as well. The damage coming out of the stolen Corki was unreal. That's going to be a lot of gold over to NONGSHIM here. They secure Dragon as well as the bounty on the Dragon. This all starts off with Lehens getting caught, right? Getting spotted here. T1 go for the chase. It's a long rotation over here for the NONGSHIM members. Lehens obviously is in a ton of trouble. There's no Yone ultimate, so I can understand why T1 thinks, okay, this is just a done deal. It's a freebie. If Faker gets out here, none of this happens. None of it happens. But Gideon gets the Valkyrie. Valkyrie is perfect here. Gets another transform. Smash is like, I got a flash. That's way too much damage. Uh-oh.
I've seen this movie before.
Well,
yep.
I was, you know, for a moment there, I was like, wait, can NONGSHIM maybe do this 1 or 2 more times and we have a game? But then we come out of the replay and reality strikes us, and strikes, unfortunately, Jew for a 6th time this game.
And this did happen in game number 1 as well, right?
Yes.
It was the negative Rebel Baron power play into T1 saying, haha, I guess we'll just win. And then they did. This does have an Anivia in it, so maybe that just win is going to take a little while longer. But Oner says he's going to split push, take down a mid lane inhibitor turret, and T1 to continue to push forward. King in. They get just engaged on here by Keria. King goes golden. Keria likely to die as Gideon is just burning. That is going to be the rocket to take him down. Actually, the last tick of Ignite, I believe, was what removed him there. And NONGSHIM continuing to play defense. Arrow going to connect onto this Rumble as the ulti from Fisher. It might be enough there to be able to take him down, but instead he goes golden. Oner now taken down to his GA. Smash is getting autoed down by Giu, who's standing and delivering as far as this damage is concerned. If he's not instantly killed, things can be better, unless Oner does that. And now the entire bottom lane is being wiped out. He does have to sacrifice himself for it. Speaking of sacrifices, Doran will be taking down Fisher, the hero, as Kingen versus Faker, a tale as old as time, or at least one that's at least 3 years old based on the 2022 World Final.
You know, this has just been so wild to watch. It's another similar scenario, not this scenario. It's similar in that like Keria kills Jiu. That's been happening a lot. It's like the 6th time that's happened. Yeah. This is a similar scenario where, again, if you go into this composition of NONGSHIM with the Viego on the other side and the Ashe slows, it can be quite tricky to play out. Now, Anivia has the arm guard, so can actually buy a ton of time here. Still has passive as well, so Kingen plays this kind of fast and loose, and I really appreciate how much pressure he puts on. Arrow comes through, just the tip of the ult from Fisher actually locks Doran down, and then Jiu positions really well. Yeah, can we stop doing the thing where we say nice things about NONGSHIM that we come back and they're dead?
Yeah, this has happened, some would say, too much.
I was hoping for, like, you know, something interesting happens. Hey!
47 kills, the most that we've had so far in a game here in the LCK Cup. Sorry, that is the record to break. We still need one to come on through to tie it up.
I think... you know, there's been some games where you can end without killing anybody. I think this is not going to be one of them. I think it probably is likely to be broken.
I think Lehens, if he respawns, he may just die by existing on Summoner's Rift. This could be another one, though, as Keria going to look for a Bone Skewer, connects it after the Heartbreaker. This guy is sick. Oner now looking to try and connect that Q, but the arrow is going to be what lands. Nice little stun there as in goes Oner looking for another opportunity. Kingen just trying to play defense. This picks him out of the air again. How does Keria keep doing this? Now looks for the engagement in the backline, sacrifices himself at Smash to find an avenue in. He's going to take down Jiu, and Fisher somehow misses everyone with that ultimate. That actually, I don't think that's on Fisher. That should have hit something, I think. As now Faker is going to say enough with the shenanigans, and he's looking to end this game right here. The most kills in a game here for the LCK Cup ever. And Fisher is still going to try and get more, at least give more, as 2 go down before Smash is given some time with this Nexus. Doran also going to be able to clear out the kill onto Kingen, gets the ace, and this is going to be the 2-0 for T1. Welcome to the playoffs of the LCK Cup. You'll be up against either DRX or Humble Life Esports, depending on who wins the next